welcome back. If you're just coming here from the last video, let me say I'm so sorry. Technology is great until it isn't and it doesn't work. I was literally in the middle of recording that video when all of a sudden my entire computer system crashed and went down, and it just stopped rather abruptly. So I created another title slide and decided to just pick up the pieces and keep going. So in this video, I'm actually continuing where we left off, and I'm going to talk about how I first approach my research with that initial broad overview. Because the system did crash, I'm going to be, rather than having you actually see me go in and highlight like I had intended, I'm going to show you what I've already highlighted, at least in part for this section, and move on from there. I'll also show you where these pieces tie into the bibliography card that I create within my Zettelkasten system. So with that, let's go ahead and switch over and get started and hope that my computer doesn't crash again. Okay, so the first thing that I do is go through the research article and look at things that I believe are important from a bibliography or reference perspective. Obviously, I need to know the name of the article, so that's why it's highlighted right there in bright yellow. I also need to know who the authors are, so I went ahead and highlighted that. And then I need to know information about the article itself. All of this information then gets entered on my bibliography card right here as the in-text citation and as the reference itself. For more information about references, the different types of references you can do and how to format them, go back a couple of videos and check out the one I did on references. Once I'm done looking at the research article focusing on references and reference information, there's a few other things I like to kind of skim through the article and look for. I specifically like to see if there's any dedications, anything that they're saying that might show that there's a bias for the information that's in that research. In this case, I can see that the authors each received 2 grants, and that the grants came from the National Natural Science Fund and the National Social Science Fund, both of which were in China. I also scroll down towards the end of the research, and I look to see what are some limitations. So in this case, the limitations of the study dealt more with the small sample size and cultural involvement, being that they focused on German and Japanese firms. There's really nothing in here that raises concerns about the authors, about anything from a limiting perspective that would impact my ability to use their results or the information that they provided on ethical leadership and various theories tied to that. So those are things that I look at. The next thing that is important, and here I'm in Zotero, which is the software that I like to use to do my highlighting because their user interface is very easy to use. So just to reiterate, I store all of my research in a program called modv.io. This is a very new program that has the best indexing system that I've seen out of any of the AI platforms that have come out. I also like that it can do some insights and help you review an article in advance of getting to this stage. The second software program that I use is Zotero. You can get this program for free. They use an awesome PDF JavaScript program to make highlighting and notating the research very easy and effective. And what I really like is that I can do that highlighting and note-taking on my iPad on the same version. I prefer to work within my iPad because this keeps me from doing any copying and pasting or otherwise cheating. For those of you that have listened to my playlist on Zettelkasten, this makes sense. As you know, I like to follow the analog process as much as possible, even though I am leveraging the power of digital tools. So yes, I went digital to go analog, and I talk all about that in that playlist. So feel free to swing on over and check that out if you're interested. So in Zotero, I do the highlighting. Now, again, I did this all while I assumed I was recording, only to find out that my computer was actually crashing and it lost this part of the recording. Since it wasn't critical per se, I decided to go ahead and just show you what I had already done, and we'll pick up the pieces from there. As you can see within the abstract, I highlighted certain words that I felt were important in describing the research overall. For example, it talks about the role of ethical leadership. It talks about multinational companies, control practices, that it was in China, because obviously where the research is conducted can be important. They used the term organizational practice transfer twice, so I felt that must be important. They also talked about performance and cultural moderating factors. I used the information that I highlighted here within my Zettelkasten card to create this description that provides the overview of what this research is. Remember, I'm priming my mind, and I'm priming my mind to pay attention to research that explores the role of ethical leadership and control practices within multinational companies in China, focusing on how cultural differences moderate the impact of leadership on organizational practice transfer and performance. I'm sure you're thinking in your head, wait a minute, I thought she said she researches artificial intelligence. And I do. But with the advent of generative artificial intelligence, companies are struggle with how to ethically incorporate this artificial intelligence into their organizational structure while still maintaining control. So the concept of ethics, control, leadership, and AI do actually go hand in hand, just might not be noted that way within the research. These are the pieces of the puzzle that I bring together by using my Zettelkasten system. So I hope this broad overview helps you understand what I look at when I do that very first of 5 pass-throughs on the research. So as a reminder, I stress the importance of priming your mind because you want to retain as much information as possible while you're reviewing this research to ensure that you can speak about it effectively, whether that's just in day-to-day conversations, the interaction with vendors like I do, or even in the completion or defense of your academic papers, whether it's a thesis that you're writing for your undergraduate work, the master's thesis that you're doing for your master's program, or even the oral defense of your dissertation in a PhD program. The more tools and tips that I can give you to help you get that information embedded in your brain, the more successful you will be as you complete your academic journey or even your professional journey if you look at, like I do, at using my Zettelkasten and my research to write various articles for publications and even to work on the manuscript for my book. I'm able to coherently, I hope, and confidently be able to talk about what I have learned through my research because I've reviewed it not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 5 different times as part of preparing my Zettelkasten cards. So with that, I'll say goodbye for this video, and I'll see you in the next one when we actually start to do the skydiving and get a look at the overall landscape by looking at the overview objectives that are within the research for the rest of the information on the front of our bibliography card in Zettelkasten.